Hello and welcome. My name is Vex, and today is Friday, which means we've got a ton of Godforged things to go over, catch up on the news that we missed from the week, and take a look at some of the things that are going to be introduced in the beta coming later this May. But first, a word from our sponsors. Today's video is brought to you by Glitch Energy. Glitch has been my sponsor now for, I guess, like a year and a half now. And I've been drinking it every stream. It's fantastic. It keeps me going. I stream late at night, so it's like gives me just enough boost to get me through it. I'm also the guy who makes the art on the cups. I've got a couple in the background there. And they just released a new flavor, Zombie Stomp, which is a cherry limeade. There's a ton of flavors to choose from. My favorites right now are Trombone Juice and this Drink Me Potion, which is like an Alice in Wonderland inspired flavor. Super good. They got a ton of different varieties, and the sort of the tagline is 0 sugar, 0 calories. You don't get headaches from it. You don't get sort of like the, oh, I've not had caffeine in 2 hours, I don't get headaches, like that anymore. It's super clean, super nice, and the flavors are always really good. A link will be down in the description to glitchenergy.com, and use code VEXING at checkout for 20% off. Okay, back to Godforge. We have a couple things to go over today. We've got a main video. We've got a brief sort of teaser for the cinematic that's going to be released in 10 days from the recording of this. And a little bit of a discussion point from a video that was put out by Ash, who is not, as far as I'm aware, I guess he's on the Fateless team, but I don't know if he's working on Godforge itself. But I'm going to save that to the end of the video. That one's a little bit more nuanced. As always, links for everything are going to be in the description. Make sure you give these videos some love, as well as I put timestamps in for viewing, if you want to go back and forth to a specific topic or skip me talking about things and actually getting to the video. So yeah, those will be in the description. We also film these live in front of a studio audience on twitch.tv/vexinglive. If you want to join in on the chat, that's enough.
Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless. Today we're going to be diving in to a bunch more of the game screens and see what the actual beta and then live game is going to look like once we get all of those screens finished. We're going to be doing a bit of a follow-up from last week where we talked about weapons and gear. Just want to clarify some of the points that I covered, because as I've seen reactions to it from other content creators, I've realized that some things were perhaps a little bit still grey area, shall we say, and I wasn't clear enough in my first.
My biggest question from last week was, do we lose the champion for imprinting a champion onto a weapon to get their passive onto the weapon? Do we lose that? Is there a way to get that back? What's the incentive for giving up a legendary character if you do use the character? And I think it's answered in this. It's been a couple days since I watched this, but I think it's answered.
First explanation. So we're actually going to be diving into the full kind of like Unity build. And
okay, I promise I won't pause too much, but in case you didn't watch a previous video or previous stream, I did talk about the turn meter in this, and this video is all about UI and things like that. So I wanna bring this up again. And Simon had mentioned it in a comment in one of my videos, and it seems like they have picked a direction, and that's totally fine. But I'm eager to get into the beta to see how this feels. But having the turn order on the left as who's next, who's coming up, whatnot, and the turn meter underneath the character, which is the yellow bar, is redundant information. I'm not going to go into the full of it, but it's essentially like once the bar reaches 100%, it no longer gives you any information, because it's just an arbitrary bar. Like, there's no number on it. If all 4 characters or all 8 characters have a full yellow bar, who goes? Oh, then you just look at the turn order. Okay, well, why not just only have the turn order? It's just redundant. And the reason why I say I'm waiting for beta is because that little snake next to the health bar, that's a meter that fills up with a character's ultimate ability. And if the meter underneath the health wasn't turn meter, it could just be the ultimate meter. Because I foresee, and this is me not having played the game, they clearly have access to the game on mobile and whatnot. So I don't know what they see that I don't see, you know? I foresee it being an issue of clarity, especially on a smaller screen. Like, how do I know that the meter's at 90% versus 100% or 60% versus 90%? Do I have to like squint and bring my phone up to my eyes real close and be like, oh, you know, I might die if that reaches 100%? So I think the juggling of the bars here is not great. And I'm really hoping that we get like an added ability to like on the options or whatever to put in percentages or numbers over the health and turn meter bar. I think those would be super useful numbers, even if it's just percentage HP or, you know, remaining HP or something like that. Anyway, keep going.
Taking a look at some of the latest stuff that we're doing as well, especially on the character screen. You can start to see, you know, the animation and the combat starting to kind of get into that fluid motion as we get some of this stuff done. At Fateless, we are doing a fundraising round right now, which is due to end at the end of this month. If you are a high net worth
Ethical reacts, we watch it.
Company or a self-certified high net worth investor and are interested in being involved in the Fateless fundraising round, then please contact me directly. All of the information will be in the pinned comment down below. So I am right now in Engine, in Unity, kind of doing some of the various things in the back of house. I just want to show you actually how some of the screens are starting to look in Unity.
So there's some new hero portraits here. There's Vlad, and I think this is Athena.
We got a ton of our heroes now in the game. Some of them are not properly rigged yet, some are.
Yeah.
Take Ra here, for example. He's got an idle breaker going off, but he doesn't have his idle stance yet. But there's a whole bunch of different heroes kind of like in the mix now that perhaps we haven't seen before. The camera's working extremely fluid. I really like it. We're getting up close and personal to these guys now. And bam, we can turn the UI off and just enjoy the view. Honestly, phenomenal work on some of these heroes here. This is Walter's work, who is an absolute rock star. A couple of ones that you might not have seen.
Oh, there's Hell. Is that... I don't know who that lady is next to Hell. What the heck is going on? Who's that? That's Hercules, but who's below Hercules? On the right of Simon's head? It looks like a helm with like eyeballs on it.
I don't
Oh, it's Athena, yeah.
many, but check out. Ooh, check out the shield. Damn, Athena is kicking it with the shield. She's obviously not rigged yet, but loving it.
Shamel,
Who else is
King Arthur.
kind of looking?
That's Freya. Who's that guy? That's Persephone, I think. Or Aphrodite. I don't know which one. Persephone? Who's this guy? This old guy.
Fresh out there.
It's Freya.
Solid work on Freya. Like, obviously, again, not rigged, but look at the quality now. We're starting to really get the
sword
lighting
looks really cool.
improved so that we're starting to really sell the heroes in a better way.
I don't know who that guy is. That looks like, oh, man. The bad guy from The Mummy. What's his name? I can't remember.
Some of the larger heroes, we're just able to fit them in better. We're actually going to crop the wings in on the Sphinx.
Oh, they fixed the eyes. I don't know who that is. Don't know who this is. This is like a guy, a knight. Just like a generic knight, but he's an epic.
So that it fits the...
Musashi, of course. Leonidas.
The vibe better.
This is Prince Charming. Person with a horse mask? What is that? Hair looks like smoke from Mortal Kombat. The Green Knight. Some dwarf guy. Looks like a dwarf. That's is that Beowulf? I think that's Beowulf. Cleopatra. Man, there's a ton of characters here that I just don't know. Like, I think we've seen this lady, but I forget her name. I don't know who this like redhead chick is. King Tut. Lady Zoc.
We have got,
And they've still only got, you know, a couple of the main factions done and in the game.
specifically massive heroes. We've now got the camera to kind of like auto-focus on the right sort of spots for them. The Minotaur looking beastly.
Oh,
Even a dragon in the mix right now, but damn, he's not rigged, which means he's super long. In fact, he's Zulong.
I know it's like a running joke that Simon mispronounces everything, but as far as I'm aware, it's pronounced Julong. ZHU is pronounced like Ju, like Julong.
Yeah, so very, very cool. But yeah,
Wait. He's going way too
dragon
fast.
in the mix right now, but damn, he's not rigged, which means he's super long. In fact, he's Zulong. Yeah, so very,
Oh, Dagonet. Oh, he's a rare character. This hero is work in progress.
very cool.
Some uncommon
But yeah, we're starting
fodder.
to get a lot more heroes in the mix. So, what else can I show you here? Some of the screens are kind of like getting there. They're kind of like, Zulong's a bad example to be on, actually. Let me just go to one who doesn't look so funky. Oh, look at Dagonet there. Looking cool. Yeah, so some of the screens are starting to have all of their functionality in, but they're not finished from a UI, UX perspective. So, yeah, we're starting to be able to see how some of the other screens
This we've already
work.
seen.
Obviously, we're getting ready for that beta, and
4 abilities on a rare.
for beta right now, you would have got an email.
I guess
to say,
3 in a
"We're
passive.
closing in. We're kind of getting ready, but some of the stuff is still a bit funky, and we've basically got the UI UX designers now sort of going in and making sure that all of this stuff feels good and works 100%. So yeah, lots of work going on there. Now, what I wanted to show you actually was a leadership report that Henry has done for us on UI UX, because it kind of shows what a lot of these screens will become. And I just figured a lot of people enjoyed what we did last week, where we talked about gearing and weapons. So we're going to look into a bunch of the other screens that are planned for launch. And yeah, Henry does a brilliant job of kind of like laying out what he's working on right now,
Hey, Henry.
how complete it is, and then, you know, what's going to be coming next. So
Okay, so Battle UI is totally complete. Tooltip, equipables, upgrades, imprint. That's interesting to me because I didn't think that the background of the equipment screen, or sorry, the imprint screen was final. And I'm wondering if that's just like beta final.
we do this once a month. Every
Sanctum is 70%, looks
in
like.
the project basically delivers a report which shows their progress and is able to share that progress with the rest of the team. Okay then, so let's talk weapons. Weapons, I showed you during the last video, and basically there's a number of different elements. We've got a weapon that you can farm or earn or win and upgrade. There will be an implicit ability which improves as you upgrade the weapon. There'll be stats which improve as you upgrade the weapon. And then there's 3 different areas here. So if you attune the weapon, then you're able to gain additional stats for anybody who is in the right faction. You can only attune a weapon to the right faction. So the UI is off here because it's just placeholder stuff, but you know, this is our Khajiit symbol, which means that you would have to attune to a Khajiit member of your team to be able to get this ability of additional implicit bonus.
So the 5% is just from... I'm assuming these stars are... It's either enhancements beyond level, like you take it to level 20 and then you enhance it to get from level 20 to 30, you know, that kind of thing. The middle one is if it's on a faction that is relative to what it asks for. And the blue is for the specific character.
Okay, so if it's 30% now and you attuned it, that would take you up to 35%. And this is something you would have to pay like a currency, a gold currency, to be able to do. If you decided to take it off of somebody, the attunement would be lost and you would have to reattune to somebody else. The blue symbol here is actually to lock it to somebody who is the right user of that actual weapon. So the example here, this is Excalibur. Excalibur would only be possible to even get this bonus if you did this to King Arthur, for example. So again, it's a way to really min-max your builds here to be able to improve. These other tabs are literally just sort of color showcases of the different weapons, but you would obviously have different implicits for different rarities of weapons. And then you're able to imprint the passive of a hero onto a weapon. If you decide to change that imprint to a different imprint, the original imprint is lost.
So it's not taking from a pool of designed abilities specifically for a weapon. It's specifically the passive of a character that you sacrifice to the weapon, that you then put on a different person. So theoretically, this new person has two passives. And is it an exact copy of the passive? Is it like a neutered version of it? I mean, maybe the passives in this game are like not great. I'm having trouble seeing a way forward where this doesn't get absolutely busted. Like truly busted. Like, are passives stackable? Like if I have King Arthur with Excalibur on him and it's attuned and it's imprinted with his own passive on it, does it just double up his passive with all the extra stats? Like, that seems busted. And like, are we not gonna want... Maybe there's no empowering in this game. Maybe like there's no reason to have multiples of one legendary. Like a legendary's passive is going to be much better than a rare's passive. But it's going to feel like so bad when I get my second Zeus. And I'm like, oh, I really want to put him on Dagonet's weapon. Here, let me sacrifice my legendary character to put inside this weapon. And then if I ever want to change that because a new passive comes out, I now have lost my Zeus. If there were no need for multiples, either they wouldn't exist or there wouldn't be stand-ins for this stuff. What do you mean none? I mean, it's not the type of game where I could see faction wars or faction guardians being a thing. Yeah. In the previous video, Simon did say like, "Hey, you're going to be able to get these imprinted souls or whatever they are via in-game events." I don't really know if you're going to be able to like farm them anywhere. But like maybe you could just get anybody's like soul for weapons places and it's just a random drop. And you just wait for that rather than sacrifice your legendary character. Well, that's it. I was thinking if there was a need for I don't know if there's a need for multiples in this game. I don't know if you can have multiple of the same character on one team. But coming from a genre where you would want multiples, you would want, you know, one for PvE, one for PvP, or you have two. It's just kind of like I don't know, in like Mind Cinemas for Zenless or whatever. You have getting a second one essentially empowers your first one and unlocks like a new ability or something. Like, do I have to choose between that and sacrificing my guy permanently? Or is there faction guardians where I need two of the same character type of thing to give my entire squad a permanent passive +3 attack or whatever? Like, I mean, I'm assuming all these will be answered when the beta comes out, but unless there's like an actual farmable way to get specific souls or implicits or whatever this is called, I feel like it's like a super feel bad. Because I'm only going to want to use rares. Because I'm going to need my epics. I'm going to need my legendaries. And the rare passives are going to be dog water compared to the legendary ones. So people who spend more money on the game and get more legendaries and more copies of legendaries are just going to have a better team than me. Which I guess is like the name of the game no matter what. But yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and Zenless and in all Hoyo games, when you roll any character, you get a secondary currency that can be used to buy either more rolls at a slow rate or like in-game level up items like, I don't know, or things to cook with or whatever. But then once you've maxed out the maximum amount of times you can get a character, which is 7, 1 plus 6, when you get another one of those characters, you get like triple the amount of that currency because you don't need that character anymore. It just gives you way more of that currency to get more rolls or whatever. So, I mean, maybe there is no reason to have multiples in this game. I don't know.
Imprints can be farmed through events and things like that. There will be some fun mechanics in how to get them as well, but they're also going to be like a duplicate hero that you turn into an imprint because you don't want them anymore. So hopefully that's cleared up a few.
What if I just would have watched the next 10 seconds? I don't know. I feel like that still didn't answer the question, though. That doesn't answer if there's no use for duplicate characters. That also seems like... I don't know if this sounds too harsh, but it kind of seems like a waste of a duplicate character. If that's the only thing that you can do with duplicate characters is shove them into weapons, are we just not going to get duplicate characters often? Or am I meant to use them as chickens to, level up other characters? I don't know.
Few of the things around weapons. Now we've got the kind of like gearing screen here. This also is where your weapon will be. So this will give you an idea of some of the work that's
in it. Henry, what do you think? Do you think he's talking about having a need for duplicate characters? Or are you just meant to spend more money in it?
done So yeah, you could kind of go in and enhance. Again, some of this is functional, some of it is not. But if you go into enhance, you'll then go to this screen where you're able to refine the weapon, which is basically leveling it up, which is going to give you more stats, and ultimately a different kind of like waypoint.
This has a different currency. This doesn't cost gold to level up. Interesting.
As you star them up, you'll also improve the quality of the implicit as well. You then go into this kind of like imprint.
This is what I was talking about. Apparently, this is final, this background. It's interesting. I think we should crypto mine our characters. Fucking melt my computers to my best. I mean, there was somebody said in like a comment that they highlighted at some point, like I think on YouTube or something. You can make social media posts on YouTube, right? And it was like, oh, what would you think about bringing crypto or God, what are they called? NFTs into Godforge. And like, what? They answered, they were like, definitely not at this point, but you know, who knows for the future? A very like PR type of no answer. But like, of course crypto bros and NFT bros are looking at this game to play. Like, we can't have anything nice.
So,
what do you mean NFT characters in a hero collector?
which is very cool, honestly. So you're able to select the weapon that you want. You're then able to choose the imprint that you want to put in for the weapon, hit imprint, and obviously it will say, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to destroy one of your valuable resources.
Oh, man. Okay, so then how do you get an imprint? Because this doesn't have a million characters on it.
Bam. We get this. And able to select the weapon that you want. You're then able to...
This only has, you know, Anubis, Odin, Leonidas. It doesn't have all the epic characters. It doesn't have rare characters. But we were told that we could use rare characters. Like, they have a secondary use once you don't need them anymore. You just, like, imprint them. But, like, is this totally separate? Like, he said you use a dupe character. Do I have to turn them into an imprint? I still don't understand.
Choose the imprint that you want to put in for the weapon, hit imprint, and obviously it will say, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to destroy one of your valuable resources. And bam, we get this kind of like turntable success rate, and then the weapon is then imprinted with your new imprint. So Susanoo here becomes the imprint, although it's like the Leonid.
So he kind of glossed over something, but he says, and I don't know if this is me reading too much into it or if this is real, but
this kind of like turntable success rate, and
he says turntable success rate, and it says success. So this could mean a couple things. It could just be like 100% of the time it just says success, like you successfully did it, cool, whatever, you paid the currency, whatever. It could also mean that it's like artifact upgrading in Raid, for example, where it's only a percentage chance when you spend the currency to actually complete the objective. The objective is putting the imprint on the weapon. But given any amount of circumstances, your chance to do it might be low. It might be 40%. And you spend the specific currency to roll the dice and try to hit that 40% success rate. If you don't, then maybe the chance goes up. or it just, doesn't. Like in Raid's in Raid's case, it just stays the same. So you try again and you waste more currency and waste more currency until finally you get it and it says success. You imprinted your thing. And then maybe the next time you go to do it, it's a lower chance, or something like that. You level up your weapon and it's a lower chance. Like, if it is like that, and there's any amount of, oh, you might not get it, it might not be 100%, it's random, I think that is just wholly bad. It's a way of extracting resources from players, and it disincentivizes people switching builds. Like, oh, I want to try this Excalibur with Leonidas. Oh, that didn't really work the way I wanted to, so I want to try this Excalibur with Susanoo. That worked a lot better. I'm glad I did that. But I wasted 700 of my resource in the meantime that I now have to go spend days farming for because there's a low success rate. Like that feels bad. That feels really bad. Like, we're in the market of theory crafting and trying to build our characters to be min-maxed and avoid stat ranges. And they even made the gear in such a way that you can see kind of how a gear is starting to roll, so you don't have to waste too much gold to level things up. And I didn't even see if those were 100% success rate level ups anyway. In every Hoyo game, when you level up an artifact and you press level up, as long as you have the materials for it, it goes from level 1 to 2. All the way up to max level. There's no lower percentage chance spending more currency, spending 5 million silver to level up one item when it should have only cost 900,000 or something. There's none of that. So I'm curious to see gear level up, and I'm curious to know what success rate means, if he even meant it like that, Maybe it always works, but how good the actual stats are is randomized. That might piss me off more. Can you imagine? I want to make my King Arthur the best King Arthur you possibly can. So I'm going to imprint, because I think my Zeus's passive is going to do super well on him. I'm going to imprint my Zeus. Boom, 100% success. Oh, his passive, instead of 50% damage increase, it's 5% damage. Yeah, that's an exaggeration, but I would be so mad that I sacrificed a legendary character. Or even if, like, oh, hey, I won it in a tournament or something like that. Like, ugh, that'd be so bad. I'm hoping. That doesn't sound...
Then the weapon is then imprinted.
Yeah. 6 months rerolling for 5%. Yeah. Like, oh, your Zeus, your Excalibur of Zeus is 5% better than mine. So I'm just going to keep rerolling.
Your new imprint, so Susanoo here becomes the imprint, although it's like the Leonidas' face. This is a funny thing when obviously these mock-ups are done. There's so many things about this which are wrong, but it's now called Excalibur of Susanoo because that's what the imprint was. This obviously should be an Avalon symbol, and this should be Susanoo's face, and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, that was what happened there. Those two things combined to become one.
Interesting. This page has 4 different currencies on it. There's 2 here and 2 here. These, I think, are for leveling up. I don't know what these are. These runes.
Weapon. And then you'll have your kind of like weapon set where you can come in.
Oh, this is deconstruction.
and decide to deconstruct different areas and get some of the ore back.
Oh, because you can craft weapons. That's what this is. This is the currency for crafting.
So I think the whole kind of UI UX is something we're working through now to make sure it's just really as simple as possible, but also really fun. And then
there's an index.
obviously you'll have your kind of like index of your different weapons that are available, and you'll be able to sort of go in and say, oh, okay, if I really want another Mjolnir, how do I get it? Like, where do I need to go? And there'll just be like go and farm it here, or this is what you can do to get that item. So gives you an idea of
okay, that's for weapons.
This I think is super cool. So a summoning experience. Now we're reworking the actual summoning experience, because at the moment we've got a placeholder kind of like summoning in game. But ultimately, when you summon a hero, you'll be able to come in and select the skills, and then there'll be like a short kind of like video clip here which shows you the skill in action, as well as gives you the information about the skill. So you'll be able to see, anyone you're super excited about, it's like, okay, what are these heroes going to be able to do? And
League of Legends does that cool. So really well.
Again, just trying to amp up the kind of like, the feeling when you get those things. I think I've shown you the kind of, flow through of world maps and things like that pretty well already. So nothing too new to be said there.
I'm really wondering how really much of this art is going to make it into the final.
I think I've shown you the kind of, flow through of world maps and things like that pretty well already. So nothing too new to be said there. But again, it's really cool actually when Henry does these, because the rest of the team start to get a better feel for what the game is going to look like once all of these screens are finished. We've got a defeat screen here, just kind of like showing you who's been leveling, where the damage went. And also if you lose, it's kind of like we're going to give you a couple of areas that you could go to improve what's going on. So, if half of your heroes are not ascended, for example, then get stronger by doing this. Or, if people don't have armor on, get stronger by doing this. So really just some kind of like tooltips to help people improve their gear or improve their setup. Actually, something else on that screen, which I think is quite interesting, is the ability to share
you can share
your team with anyone in your kind of like clan or like a social post if you wanted to. So
there's like a runs completed here. This is like a multi-battle, I guess.
There's different things in our finish screens that will end up being quite cool. And basically, Henry then goes on to look at what's next. So,
guilds.
So, what's the kind of like big ticket items he's working on next in terms?
I feel like I feel like they've got the concept artists, like already on payroll. Like this is just a what's next thing. It doesn't need to be that detailed, but like it just looks, I don't know, man.
In terms of screens, and it will be.
I'm feeling overly negative today. I'm sorry.
Actually, are going to be called pantheons.
I'm just very critical.
And that's
about things I enjoy.
The next big one that he's working on. So hopefully that
we're getting guilds.
Really interesting for you.
Do we think we're gonna get player housing?
Guys, to see as we start to progress, but yeah, tons of work now going into implementation.
Hippolyta, Amazon Queen.
Polish and like visual quality.
Oh, it's Pandora.
We've got tons
the redhead. Oh, she's got her box there. Keeper of Chaos. Interesting.
Animations, rigging, VFX, all being done behind the scenes. So, it's all starting to come together, which is very, very cool. There you go, guys. I'm with Simon from Fateless. I'll see you soon.
Okay. That's it for the first part. Only took 30 minutes or however long. But we've got more to look at. Okay, so in this one, we're going to get a little bit of a sneak peek at the cinematic. This is a short video that Simon put out that's talking about, like, they've got a giveaway for Method going for world first in the new like raid tier for WoW, which is crazy because like I feel like they're the only person, the only like guild still actively trying for world first. So they're just like gonna get it every time. No joke. Like maybe it's because I don't play WoW as much as I did before, but here we've got a the cinematic here.
You're going to see it in all its glory, but enjoy.
Oh, it's the 19th, not the 17th. That was it. That's all the preview we get.
Enjoy.
I think this is Brynhild. She kind of looked a little happy there. It's kind of crazy because they've got like... I can't remember anybody's name because I'm so terrible with names. But they've got a ton of people who had worked on like Blizzard cinematics, Riot cinematics, and like old gen console cinematics working on this cinematic. And I guess it's going to be like maybe a minute or 2 minutes at the most because cinematics are very expensive to produce, so you don't want it to be too long. But I'm wondering how they can portray what's going on in the game in that time, because we still don't know like the actual story of the game, because there is going to be a narrative. It looks good. Just don't know what's going on. I don't even know who that is. He's like smashing this goblet of fire with an axe. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? I mean, the song sounds kind of good. I think it looks really good. I hope they upload a... I hope they upload like a 1440 on the 19th. I don't know when, but I guess the 19th is a week and 2 days. This is Sunday, so that Monday we can react to it. Should be good. Anyway, that's the second part. We're getting quicker and quicker. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and it kind of relates to something that I was talking about a little bit earlier, related to AI in Godforge. Okay, context for this. Ash, this is an Ash video, and Saf is a direct, like he's working on Godforge. I don't believe that Ash is. I think he's just part of the Fateless team. They're talking about the chances to get any given character via summoning in Raid Shadow Legends. But that's not what we're here. We're here because they're calculating things, and Saf mentioned something as a developer of Godforge in the next couple seconds.
If you get a 6%, you get a legendary on a sacred shard, then you have a 7.1% chance. So we did a little bit of ChatGPT math, didn't we, Saf? You're not a fan usually, but you may accept it.
This is a work of art.
I'm becoming a bit of a convert. The team that we've got over at Fateless and a bunch of others is some pretty cool heads on AI, and they're convincing me that slowly AI might be good, but I'm still not convinced. But for this kind of exercise, it's actually an excellent service, an excellent tool, because it kind of gets you and it shows you the equation. And if anyone wants to double check the math, even I did some math mistakes on one of my previous videos, like math's hard. It is a really good, useful tool for it.
Okay. I'm not gonna rehash my opinions from 2-3 years ago at this point. I feel like I'm pretty cool-headed when it comes to AI. I've mentioned it many, many times that a lot of the screens, Ash's face is huge in my face because I've got it like blown up on my screen. Let's go back to the okay, that's a little bit better. He's like intimidating me. I've mentioned it multiple times that I find it a bit jarring. Here, let me switch over to a Godforged video and showcase. So here we're looking at guilds. This is like the to be, like on the list. This is what's coming up next on what they're doing. This screen itself is AI generated, and like I joked about earlier, like they have artists on payroll. Like I don't know if this type of thing is going to become, like if they're going to have somebody make something a little bit closer in design to everything else going on with Godforge, or if this is just a placeholder for that. But it goes further. Like that's not in the game. This stuff is in the game, where you see the background of the campaign. You're in the campaign, picking stages, and this is AI. I would be willing to bet actual money that this is AI. This background. This sword is AI, and the background. What else? What else? Do we get the Sanctum screen? We know that this is placeholder, but this is AI. The shards that they use for summoning, those are AI, those icons, and the actual shards themselves. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But, oh, this icon here in the chest and whatnot. This, like, battle symbol, like the word battle is not, but everything else is. I'm just curious. I'm just pointing this out, I guess. And I'm curious to see if any is going to make it into the live game. I also, for those of you who don't know, I also play Call of Duty on stream a couple nights a week. And Treyarch, I think, is the current company that made this year's Call of Duty. I don't know. Whoever did came out and admitted that a lot of their load screens are AI. And those of us who know, like, and can see it, knew already. Like, a bunch of them I had pointed out and was like, I think that's AI. And I guess a lot of people got mad, and then they finally came out and they were like, yeah, they're AI. And, like, they still also have, like, everything else in the game created by real people. So, like, doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. I'm just curious because they seem to have like a pretty specific goal in mind of what they want things to look like. And AI is, and you could see it in some of their like concept art, or not concept art, like mood boards. Even Simon had talked about it earlier on, like a year ago. Like when they're making mood boards for characters, they might use AI to generate a character and use elements from that. I think that's totally fine. Like, if you need to use it to gather ideas, especially if you're not an artist or not a seasoned artist, like, sure. But if you're trying to dial in on specific themes and make everything coherent, using AI for that is very, very difficult because you could tell the AI to generate an image based on a set of words 3 different times, and you're going to get 3 different images. They're not going to be near enough each other unless you make your own model. If they're going through the trouble of making their own model, why don't they just pay the artists that they already have to make stuff that they want? I'm just very curious, and I think that ultimately what we get in the beta in May, which I believe should be like a forward-facing beta. It might not be an open beta, but it'll be something that content creators who get in will be able to showcase. I think that that'll be closer to the end game of what will be released compared to this. Like, I think a lot of these placeholder things might be changed, but I'm curious to see what's not going to be changed and what will make it to live in terms of, are they going to leave, are they going to leave AI in the background of certain things, of like the campaign or whatever. And I think I notice it, like, when everything was gray box, everything was concepted. Like, everything was a placeholder. We totally knew that. And then we've got a bunch of these characters in the game that are deliberate, and there's UI that's deliberate. And then you see this AI image, and it's just like a stark contrast to everything else going on with the game, that it sticks out like a sore thumb. And that might just be because I'm, I don't know, digging in a little bit too deep. Maybe to a random mobile player, it doesn't matter as long as they're playing the game. But yeah, I'd like to see which direction they take. But just hearing it from Saf that, like, people, this is why I brought this up. Hearing that other people that he works with and near on the Godforged team, on the dev team, are like kind of gung-ho about, maybe not, maybe that's a bit too strong of a, maybe they're just like okay with it. If they're okay with using it, AI, I mean, how much is going to make it into the full release? I don't know. I don't know if that question will ever get answered until, September or whatever. But anyway, that's it. That's all I had to say. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Again, these are filmed live, so if you want to join the chat and talk about these things live, you can. We're live 4 nights a week. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I just started a brand new series that is YouTube only of a playthrough of Ark Survival Ascended, which couldn't be further from a Godforge related game. I guess it's a hero collector. I collect dinos in that game. I just don't pay for them. I paid once for them. I pay for them with my electricity. But it's still about collecting pixels that are cute, It's the same. Godforge is just Ark, but people. Easy. Maybe that's why I like it so much. Maybe we should have a dinosaur faction. That'd be fucking cool. You kill the parents and steal the babies. Yep. If you want to know the context, go watch my Ark video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. God, that was horrible. I'm so bad at these. This is why I only do these things live. This is why I'm a live streamer, not a YouTuber. As I'm filming a YouTube video. Anyway.